Russian President Vladimir Putin says Moscow's new generation of Sarmat intercontinental ballistic missiles will soon be deployed for combat duty. Now, the missiles are capable of carrying 10 or more nuclear warheads. That's as Ukraine's allies pledge billions of dollars to help rebuild the war-torn nation at a meeting in London. Our leaders from more than 60 countries gathered for the two-day Ukraine Recovery Conference. The meeting aims to drum up support to help finance Ukraine's eventual reconstruction. Russia's invasion has destroyed large parts of the country. A recent study by the World Bank, UN, EU and the Ukrainian government says that a wider economic recovery would cost more than $400 billion. Addressing the conference, Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky called on nations to help Kyiv's efforts in rebuilding projects in the country.
There is currently no place in the world where there is a need to construct and rebuild as many objects as in Ukraine. Every new day of Russian aggression brings new ruins. Thousands and thousands of destroyed houses, devastated industries, burned lives.
For more, we have Julia Chapman reporting live for us from London. Julia, it's a big target. What are some of the key takeaways from this conference?
Well, what we've been hearing so far is a number of decision makers really trying to focus minds about what a Ukrainian recovery will look like, both before and after the war ends, trying to rally private investment in the country, build confidence in those investments as well. And of course, this is an incredibly complicated situation where investors wouldn't necessarily feel secure that their money was safe, not just because of the war going on in Ukraine, but also because corruption remains quite a big problem in the country. But we've been hearing Ukrainian officials really urging the West to trust them, to help show that Ukraine can be better and move forward. And we've seen some positive signs in that direction. And what President Zelensky was calling for today was for vision to become commitments and real projects to come out of this conference. There have been a number of pledges, but the UK government said this wasn't a pledging conference. This was really looking at the ins and outs of how this will work. Areas like giving publicly backed insurance to companies, which is quite complicated as well. Looking at whether or not Russian frozen assets could possibly be used to help refinance construction in Ukraine. Lots of issues at stake, but there are some 60 dignitaries from different countries around the world, hundreds of business leaders as well, focusing minds on this.
Julia, as you say, some funds have already been pledged. How far are they sufficient, though, to help Ukraine actually recover from this war once it ends?
Undoubtedly, they fall well short as things stand. You mentioned more than $400 billion is estimated to be the current level of money that would be needed to help rebuild Ukraine. That's already an out-of-date estimate. It's a few months old. And as the war goes on, that number will grow. But some of the commitments we've been hearing over the past couple of days include one from the UK offering a $3 billion guarantee for unlocking World Bank loans that will help Ukraine with basic public services like schools and hospitals. The United States has also pledged a further $1.3 billion for improving energy infrastructure as well as border infrastructure. And the EU, we heard yesterday, making a multi-year pledge of upwards of 50 billion euros. Now, that would obviously trickle through, but is a very big commitment. Undoubtedly, though, the size of this challenge will continue to grow, and Ukraine is going to need to stimulate investment in the country to help its own economic growth.
Julia, thank you for that. Julia Chapman there reporting for us live from London.